Hi guys, it's me, Ross Pitt who, Shark Hunter. And with me today is Wizzy, as always. Wizzy who? I don't know, he's a guy. This is Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. So Wizzy, yeah, I'm kind of sick of your bullshit, but you know what? We're gonna put aside our differences for the sake of Pride Month.
Yes! Pride Month week 2!
Yeah, baby. I mean, technically it's week, 4 of Pride Month? But not for us. For us, it's week 2. Last time on Pride Month, we did lesbian, gay, and bi stories. With quotes on that bi one. Heavy quotes. But today we are doing trans and non-binary, or NB for short, I guess. Yeah, I'm not well versed in this whole thing, so this should be an interesting look into something that I haven't quite done research on. What about you, Wizzy?
I think I've done a fair amount of, I've had a fair amount of exposure to stuff like this, but if we do mess anything up at all, please forgive us and correct us in the comments, because I would love to learn.
Yes, the comments of the YouTube video, by the way, not any sort of podcast app. We have these YouTube videos, they're fun and all that. And by YouTube videos, they're fun and all that, I mean, it's just the podcast, but on YouTube.
But you get the little waveform bar on the bottom. It looks cool.
And that can be so hypnotic. But yeah. Why isn't non-binary like incorporated into LGBTQIA?
It falls under T because it's still trans. But like it's a specific type of trans. You got non-binary trans and you get binary trans.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, I suppose we'll figure that out later. Yes, for our first story, we have First Time Through the Mirror by Gelatino. Gelatino? Gelatino.
First Time Through the Mirror. Chapter 1 of 1. Dear Princess Twilight, did I ever tell you about my first trip through the mirror? I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. Tonight the girls and I are having a slumber party. It's well past midnight.
What are we
everyone
doing,
is
Wizzy?
Asleep.
Wizzy, we should have told these fine people to go down into the descriptions or wherever the heck that would be on a podcast app and frickin' read the stories for themselves, or if not, and you just want to listen to our beautiful voices, you should give it a like, even if it's a bad story, just because I feel bad about doing this without their permission.
Truly. It's well past midnight, and everyone is asleep, except for me, of course, since I'm writing to you in the journal. Well, she could be asleep, we don't know.
You're right.
A few years ago, I couldn't even imagine having such good friends and hanging out and having slumber parties like this. It's wild to think of how much my life has changed since I met you. But that wasn't the only life-changing event I went through. Even before I made friends with all of you, the first time I left Equestria and came to the human world was the biggest change in my life. I think I'm ready to tell you about it, so let me start from the beginning. I never talked about this before, but I'm trans. Can I please get some pronouns? Because I don't want to screw that up.
I'm pretty sure since that Shimmer is referred to as she, her, that's probably going to be... It's even in the description, since Shimmer counts her first time in the human world, so...
Okay, so she's like male to female.
Yes.
Okay. I thought this was going to go in a different direction. All right. It's not an easy thing to bring up, but it's very important to me, and I'm glad I finally feel able to tell you. Back in Equestria, when I was a student of Princess Celestia, she knew me as a young colt. Oh yeah, okay.
Okay,
I did very
way... I think I've noticed this before, but the way you say colt... It's
Colt?
like colt.
Colt?
Colt.
Well, when I'm reading like this, I say colt.
I don't know. I think I heard you say it as cold before without the thing, but I could be wrong.
Well, I was raised in the Northwest.
Well, I was raised Catholic.
You have a Catholic
nothing to do with
accent?
anything, but oh, what would a Catholic accent be? I guess Irish. That would make the most sense.
All right, now Ross has to start doing an Irish accent.
Oh, fiddle-dee-dee. Hello there. It's me, a Catholic.
Oh my god. Now he's become Ross O'Donovan.
Ross O'Donovan is freaking Australian.
But O'Donovan
I mean,
is...
Sure, he descends from Ireland, but...
O'Donovan is an Irish last name, the joke.
I know, but I'm also technically Irish, fun fact. But Pitt isn't an Irish last name, and that's from my dad's side. I have a different last name, but it's also not Irish.
All right. I did very well in my study of magic, and I was hoping to earn a spot among the leaders of Equestria. Sometime around then, when I realized I might actually be a girl, but I wasn't quite ready to accept it, every pony knew me as a young prodigy, and I guess I really wanted to be the great student they expected of me, so I couldn't even think about changing my self-image. This inner conflict probably contributed to my increasing desperation. I pressured myself to succeed at magic, but really I think I was just terrified of failing every pony. It's funny, dreaming of being a princess is how I realized I might really be a girl. Anyway, I'm sure you already know that when Princess Celestia wouldn't give me the power I wanted, I went through the portal, and that's when everything changed. And the Fire Nation attacked. Only Sunset, master of all 4 elements, could stop them. Wait, there's 6 elements.
My Little Pony has a 2-up on Avatar The Last Airbender. Booyah, baby.
Get out of here, Ross.
Shut up, Wizzy. At least I'm not a brand of cereal.
What?
You know, like
Puff, I get
Puff, yeah. Ba-dum-ching.
It's so disorienting being in a brand new body. Body. You remember, don't you? Oh, I see what I thought she was talking about transitioning, but she's talking about becoming a human instead of a horse.
Yeah.
Humans sure do look freaky if you've never seen one before. I bet they do. Of course, when I was in my human body for the first time, I had no reference frame for what I was supposed to be. No idea about gender or anything. I think I was mostly looking at my fingers, transfixed and slightly disgusted by them. I was adjusting to a whole new world.
A whole new world.
So the time after that was kind of a blur. I remember someone finding me, a staff member probably. They brought me to my feet and took me inside Canterlot High. I was barely coherent the whole time the faculty were trying to figure out who I was. So there's only one sunset, but there's like 2 twilights?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, nobody knew who Twilight was when she came through the portal. Just so happened that there was another Twilight at some point, somewhere in the world. My theory is that Sunset Shimmer died in the human world.
Oh.
but it's okay. She sucked.
It's gonna have that scene from Rick and Morty where he's burying himself.
Oh, yeah.
Except it's sunset.
Yikes.
Seeing Principal Celestia for the first time just disoriented me even more, and the whole day felt like some kind of fever dream. Through all the noise and confusion, one thing about that day stuck in my memory forever. I can't remember any words that were spoken to me, except some bits and pieces I clung onto.
Me. With me, young lady. This girl outside. Did she say anything? Find anything about her?
Oh. Oh. So when she went through the mirror, she transitioned.
Yep.
Interesting.
Man, wouldn't it be great if it was that easy in real life?
Yeah. That'd help a lot of people.
Yep.
Shockingly, everyone suddenly saw me as a girl. I never had a chance to deny it, nor did I really want to. In my delirious state, I was filled with a strange kind of euphoria with every gendered word spoken to me. Oh, so that's probably why she wanted to stay on the human side, eh? It didn't take long to figure out that it was gender euphoria, and that I was always meant to be a girl. I still don't fully understand how it happened. Somehow, when I went through that mirror, I was sent to a world where everyone saw me the way I wanted, even though I didn't realize it was what I needed.
Oh, also, I'm not Catholic. I'm Mormon. Just forgot to clarify that one earlier. That was just a joke.
Even though I didn't realize it was what I needed. Maybe, like a true mirror, it doesn't reflect what you think you are, but only what you really, truly are. In any case, I had a chance to start my life over completely. So all my plans were put on hold. I managed to pick up human culture pretty quickly, but everything wasn't fine and dandy. I was the new girl in school, and I was faced with all the challenges that come with it. I had a new goal to strive for. Popularity!
Wahoo!
I know your time in Canterlot High was brief, so you may not know the ins and outs of high school culture like I do. Popularity is what every insecure student dreams of. Wouldn't she know about that? Didn't she go to school, like in Pony World? Is there no pony school?
Twilight was, mainly with Princess Celestia in school. For school, so I think she just skipped kind of that whole thing.
She went to private school. Fancy Twilight.
Very private. Possibly the most private school you could get.
As you know, I never take anything in half measures, so I was quickly gaining approval from the popular kids and putting down anybody beneath me. I won myself the title of Fall Formal Princess in my very first year, and the year after that, and the year after that one too. I think at some point I stopped looking for approval and decided that ruling by fear was more effective. Needless to say, I didn't make any real friends that way.
Now that I think about it, maybe this isn't the best, analogy, considering what happens with Sunset. But,
What
whatever.
does happen?
Well, she becomes a horrible demon when she puts on the crown.
Oh, no.
Element of harmony that she stole, so, and also she's entirely about becoming popular.
Yeah, but she has a redemption arc.
Oh, yeah, and it's one of the greatest redemption arcs of all time, but it's like, It took a while for her to like in universe, not like for us. It took a single like movie for us, but like in universe, it took a minute. But whatever.
You know the rest of the story. I took my pursuit of power to the next level and set my sights on Equestria. Thanks, by the way, for stopping me and giving me all my real friends. I know I already said it, but I can't imagine what my life would be like without you guys. Oh, you want to know something else? Do you remember the time you took me back to Equestria, when Wallflower Blush was erasing all my friends' memories? What?
Oh yeah, that's like one of my favorite Equestria Girls things. So Sunset Shimmer has this 40 or so minute special where all her friends get forgotten, or all her friends forget about her, or at least her being good. And so she has to like go back to Equestria and talks with like Celestia and shit. And
whoa,
it's amazing. Like the entire thing, I am not describing it justice, like with everything I described for this show. I'm really bad at descriptions. Have you noticed that?
I wouldn't know. I don't watch the show.
Fair point. But anyways, Wallflower Blush, that bitch was doing it. Great design, though. I love Wallflower's design.
Is she a tsundere?
No.
Then what kind of name is Wallflower Blush?
It's just the best one they got for her. She's more or less just a shy girl who, like, gets forgotten all the time.
Makes sense. That was such a nerve-wracking visit. You know why? It was the first time I had seen Princess Celestia since I left her, sure. But it was also her first time seeing me as a girl, or a mare. I know I didn't have anything to worry about, but it's still a scary feeling. Meeting someone again with a new identity. Celestia was actually eager to talk to me, and we had time to catch up. I apologized for all the trouble I had caused. Even when I was still her student, I told her about all my troubles and insecurities that were causing me to act out. It was a cathartic conversation. I forgot how much I trusted her. Being with her felt like being home again, for a short time. I was surprised to hear Celestia apologize to me. She felt sorry that she couldn't give me the help I needed at the time. It wasn't her fault, of course. Nobody could have known. But the thing that really struck me was that Celestia was proud of me. She said that she was proud of what I had become. I think I really needed to hear that. It's one thing to have good friends, but having the acceptance and approval of some pony so important to me. It's funny. I don't think I could ever have the same kind of relationship with Principal Celestia, but who knows? Just, maybe make the effort.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit more weird.
Me. Anyway, I thought it was important for you to know all of that. It feels good that I can share anything with you. I love being trans. Being a girl is very important to me. I also think I might be non-binary, but I'm not going to talk about that now.
Let's save that for another story.
I feel just about ready to pass out. Please get back to me soon. I hope I can read your response when I wake up tomorrow. Your friend forever, Sunset.
And it's so weird. Twilight just never responded, huh? Wild stuff. That's a subtle
That would
hint
just
that
be so
Twilight would
terrible.
Transphobia. Oh, that would be horrible. So that was The Thing. First Time Through the Mirror. By Gelatino. This person. With that name. So, Wizzy, what did you think of it?
Oh, I thought that was awesome. I love the fan fiction aspect of it, of describing like her being trans and stuff. I think they did that really well, but it doesn't have enough adventure or action for me to really like it. But for the short story that it was, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I was like, at first I was like, oh, this is actually a really good analogy or something like that, for Sunset Shimmer to be trans. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm kind of on the edge of it. And the more it went on. But ultimately, it was very well written. At least I think. I don't know what any scholars would think, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Not much to say, though.
Oh, yeah, I was doing that voice where I enunciated everything like that just because I want automatic captions to be able to interpret everything I say as correct.
Fucking automatic captions. We already have automatic captions. It's called a story. Yeah, that was fine. Anything else to say on it?
I think we can move on to the next one.
This next one, go down in the description and like it or read it yourself. Whatever you want to do, just like it if you're gonna just listen to us. But this next one is called Thank You by The Moon Tonight, which is spelled The Moon, no caps, all one word. This is entirely one word. The Moon, 2, TONITE. The Moon Tonight. I just want you all to know, because it's a kind of a dumb title for a fic. I'll be real. It's a dumb title for a fic, and fuck you for making it.
Just thank you.
Yep. Just thank you. So I guess I will read it. It's the only reading you'll hear from me today. Chapter. No, really. It's like, thank you. No, really, thank you. Funny. Okay. Are you nervous? Shining Armor dug his nails into the fabric of his jeans and imagined a stronger man, a man without a binder. Without the folder, he clutched tight to his chest that held every scrap of hope he had saved for the past decade. He imagined the man would be an hour from now, a week, a month, a year from now, and his breath steadied. His pulse subsided from a howl to a dull roar, and he crashed back down into the passenger seat of his mom's SUV. Okay, this is a human version of them. But it's not Equestrian Girls. It just says human. That's interesting.
You have no idea.
Twilight Velvet pursed her lips, her eyes unreadable, underneath the wide sunglasses she wore. Her fingertips tapped to the beat of the CD Shining had burned, and she said nothing. The CD skipped as she hit a bump, and Velvet spoke. The force seemingly dislodged whatever words hung unspoken in her throat. You're right. Before Shining could press for more, her hand found his as manicured nails dug into the soft of his palm. But I've been nervous before. Marriage, childbirth, now. Shining turned to face his mom, and their eyes met. The crest of her eyebrows, the tug downwards on the edge of her eyelids spoke of a love made bittersweet by the inescapable reality of change.
I know this is hard for you.
Shining faced the cityscape instead, the passing buildings blending into a beige haze of gentrification. He felt sick. Honey. Velvet squeezed his hand, and he squeezed back, a desperate confession of love and terror in equal measures. This is your day, okay? Don't worry about me.
I know.
Shining pulled his hand back and turned his attention to the folder he held, flipping through it in a final bid to find some guidance, some comfort in the uncertainty that sought to tore him apart. Hold on, let me read that again to make sure. Okay, yeah, I think that's
just a typo.
Mess up. How dare you? I'm not giving this story any leeway. How dare you? His reverie was wrenched from him as they slowed. They were here. Velvet was quiet as she parked, her arm braced against the back of his seat rest as she carefully parallel parked. Shining wasn't looking forward to learning parallel parking. Neither am I.
Right?
She was quiet as she put the SUV into park. Quiet as she set her crossbody purse across her shoulder. Quiet as she opened the door and stepped into the hot summer air. They were both quiet still as they walked into the clinic on the corner of 3rd and North High. He pushed the door open, holding it for his mom as they stepped over the threshold and into the first day of his life. Walking to the desk, the walls closed in and the reality of his situation nipped at his heels.
Somehow it took me a long time to realize he was going to get surgery.
Oh, yeah. I knew that. Duh. Nah, I think I got it somewhere along there and then forgot. Anyways. Was he ready for this? Was he prepared truly for everything that would follow this moment? Was he ready to be a man? That's a good question. The choice was made for him by the desk clerk, staring him down over the rim of her black, thick-framed glasses.
Are you here for an appointment?
He spoke, his voice dragging its way out of his throat like nails on a chalkboard. A woman's voice.
Yeah, the name should be Shining Armor.
The desk clerk, the woman with the pastel blue, pink, and white striped pin affixed to her lapel, smiled, and Shining felt a little less alone. Her voice was deeper, a lilting strain against the upper limits of her vocal cords.
Okay, I need to see an ID to get checked in. You're seeing Nurse River, right?
Shining nodded, gracious for a chance to rest his trembling voice. Pulling his wallet out of the back pocket of his jeans, he fished his ID out and slid it across the countertop. The name Moondancer. Oh, Moondancer. The name Moondancer was printed in bold black letters across her name tag, and for a moment, Moondancer was the only thing he could focus on.
So wait, is that his dead name or something?
No, Moondancer, I believe, is the person at the desk. The desk clerk.
Oh, I thought that was, okay. I thought that was him pulling out his ID and then it was supposed to read Moondancer.
Yeah. I was a bit confused at first, too. It was kind of written weird, but oh well. Moondancer was the only thing he could focus on. She took the ID and started typing, her attention wholly on the screen in front of her. The world hung in the air for a moment, and Shining waited for the sword to drop, for the illusion to be shattered. But all he got was his ID back and another pleasant smile.
You're free to have a seat. A nurse will call you up when it's your turn.
Shining turned to leave for the sitting room, but Moondancer's voice caught in his mind before he could flee.
And Shining, congrats.
It took all his effort not to cry. Are you nervous?
If people don't stop asking me that, then yes, I'm gonna start feeling nervous.
Well, you should be.
The nurse took out a gun.
Shining puffed his cheeks out, putting on his best pout. He tapped his fingers against the paper that covered the exam bed, drumming out a tense little tune. Nurse River just laughed, a gentle sound that didn't reach the pale walls of the exam room. She was holding a needle and small glass vial. "So, you're not nervous at all, then? Not even a little?" River wasn't looking at Shining, instead focusing on pulling the clear liquid into the chamber of the needle. She tapped it against the glass of the bottle, and Shining flinched.
I'm not swearing, Ross. I'm not doing it.
Oh, but Wizzy, it's for a good cause. These swears are for the children, Wizzy.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right, I'll swear for you.
Okay. I'll just stop at like...
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm extremely nervous. Like,
Fuck.
It so takes away from the drama.
Shining threw his arms into the air and kicked his legs against the exam bed. It was the most he could do to keep his panic from hitting a head and exploding outward. He'd rather wait till he got home to break down. I understand. The boys have it worse, really. The girls don't have to deal with the injections usually. This is gonna sting, okay? I promise it's better than getting blood work done, though. Shining shuddered and nodded. He dealt with blood work. He could deal with this. All he had to do was close his eyes and wait for the 3, 2, 1. Jab. Push. Sigh. Shining felt the tension practically drain from his body, relaxing his body into a tired but satisfied slouch. He waited to pass out there, sprawled across the dingy exam bed. The dingy exam bed. Don't remember that. The world had lifted off his shoulders, and for the first time, the first real time, he was Shining Armor. I wonder what his other name was. The dead name, they call it?
I don't know.
Glimmering Shield. That might actually be the R63 name of it.
Ross, you can't just dead name Shining Armor.
Okay, deepest apologies.
Are you nervous?
Yes, extremely. Twilight's voice barely carried over the song she was blasting. Shining let her hook her phone up to the aux, and she was letting the sweet sounds of Gold Celeste wash her fears away. The surface fears, of course. The real deal was still clinging to her chest like a vice, threatening to crush her ribcage like a papier-mâché crane in a car accident.
Ha! Don't be, okay? It's gonna be fine.
Shining squeezed Twilight's thigh, and she turned to face him, her eyes swimming in the deep end of sorrow and terror. He just smiled as the sun cut through the dust on his dash. His rainbow dash. Pulling his hand back, he downshifted into the last turn they would have to make before the clinic. The mechanical precision, the casual grace that Shining exhibited as he piloted the old Mazda down city streets fascinated her. This car would be hers when he graduated college. She looked forward to it. To the cracked speaker enclosures and the fading black fleece that clung to the dying foam of the streets. She looked forward to the self-done oil changes, late-night weird smoke diagnostics, and grease-coating her fingers. She looked forward to owning this car. She looked forward to owning herself. Yeah, own yourself.
Look, at least you don't have to deal with needles.
Twilight's eyes traced the stubble, the rough skin, the sunburn from the yard work, only now starting to heal. At least she had a brother, a trailblazer, a long-suffering guide in the dark to ferry her across the river of her old life and onto the shore of the new. Twilight nodded, uncrossing her arms to fidget with the volume knob as the album hit a lull. Yeah, at least there's that. I just get pills. Satisfied with the Mazda's desperate attempts to deliver her music, she watched the cityscape pass by. She counted every store, every restaurant, every rental office her eyes could catch. But hey, your voice changed and stuff. I have to try to get there. She would try, or she might. She didn't know. She couldn't know, really, and that bothered her. Too many unknowns.
Okay, do you know what they're talking about when they're talking about the needles and pills?
Beats me. Like I said earlier, I have not researched this stuff.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
Alright, guys, anyone watching who has more knowledge on this stuff, tell me in the comments, please.
Yeah, we're forcing you to. We're holding you at gunpoint to tell us.
Just like the nurse did to Shining. Hey, Twilight?
Twilight was torn from her spiral and back into the passenger seat as they pulled into an empty spot on a nearby side street. She was glad Shining didn't try and parallel park. Shining smiled as he pulled the handbrake up, and the world around them slowed.
You're gonna be fine. I promise.
He was right. Oh, wait a minute. He didn't even try to parallel park? You wuss. So much for character development.
Like, that was the whole point of the story, right?
Come on. All right, that was Thank You by The Moon Tonight.
Oh, I love this one so much. Like, sorry last story, but this one was so good.
This story I definitely thought was better than the last one. It was fun and all that, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say fun, because one's a slice of life story ever fun, let's be real here. But yeah, that was pretty good.
I love it. I just love the whole, like, him being nervous, and then him just, like, having that cute moment with Twilight, and they're both trans.
Yeah. It's very sweet. Very sweet. But, I don't have much to say on it. The car coming back into play was pretty clever, or at least the driving that Shining was gonna do or whatever. That was interesting. But other than that, I don't have much to say on it. Good story.
Which would bring us to our final story, though.
But what on earth is this final story?
It's called Rooster by Dreamer Deceiver.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. You forgot to do the T's. Like, you did lettuce, bacon, tomato, or...
Oh, the T.
Lettuce.
Yeah, the T is tomato. As you know, trans people love tomatoes.
So that's for both of them?
Yeah. Well, you
both
see...
of the stories, you lame-o.
The first story... The first story was drawn with tomato ink. The second story,
Yeah? Was he
tomato,
just thinking of the worst possible?
The nurse was eating a tomato. Did you not see that part?
I'm pretty sure I didn't see that part. In fact, I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the story.
Oh, well, it was there. And the last one, Rooster Tomato Farm. Good night.
All right, good night.
Yeah, at least for that one, I didn't just totally make something up. Anyway, let's get to it for our non-binary fic.
Woo, yeah, cool.
Chapter 1, Rooster. Dear Princess Twilight, what are you supposed to think when you're only truly seen by your enemies?
Yes. Oh, 2 of these stories start with Dear Princess Twilight.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god.
Although I think first time through the mirror. No, yeah, both Dear Princess Twilight. That's interesting.
Okay, I suppose enemies wouldn't be the right word. But still, dragons aren't exactly a welcoming bunch, let alone accommodating. So why do I feel more comfortable around them than I do my own friends? Maybe one day they'll both come to the Dragonlands and see the pony I've become. I hope they'd be proud of me. It's certainly not the most glamorous job, even by CMC standards. Thanks, Sweetie Belle, but it's an honest living, daring work, some might say. Though I'll be honest, now that there's peace again, the animosity of the dragons seems to have come back in full effect, gone over the fist bumps and in are the punches to the shoulder. I'm not sure what I should have expected, really. When the chips were down, everyone pitched in. But now that none of our lives hang in the balance, creatures seem fully content to just go about their lives, without a thought in their head about helping anyone but themselves. I hear them talking about me sometimes. Sometimes they'll even talk about wanting to hurt me. I guess I kind of am the equestrian rat by their standards. We're only here to keep the communication lines open. But you try explaining that to dragons who never got a formal education. It's harder than you think.
I'm gonna sock that rooster right in the jaw. Yes, I am. Teach him to eyeball me.
That's right. They've taken to calling me Rooster here. Not something I really expected, and not something I really mind. Not exactly sure why, but it doesn't feel like a hot needle in the small of my back the way Chicken did.
All right, Wizzy. Do you remember the thing I told you?
Yeah, there's some meme in the community about what's his name being a rooster?
Her name's
Scootaloo, that's right.
Or possibly their name in this one. But yes, Scootaloo, the chicken thing, it's a whole thing. Anyways.
I just guess you hate the memes in the community, right?
I hate 2 memes in the community. 2 memes in the community I loathe more than anything. One is the chicken meme. The other is Twilicane.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the Celestia ice cream thing. Or cake?
That one is annoying, but I can live with it on occasion. At least nowadays.
And M. Huh. Yeah, M sounds good. Not sure what about it, but it feels almost like a weight taken off when I hear it. Celestia only knows why. That's another thing. Princess, does it upset you that creatures still use Celestia's name as an expletive? I feel it doesn't really have anything to do with you.
It doesn't bother Celestia. She actually thinks it's interesting.
Does it actually bother Twilight?
No.
Okay. Just that they see her as some kind of powerful figure. See, now
So do
that
I.
sounds insulting. I should just stop talking about her. Moving on. I gotta say, it has been comforting that none of the dragons have ever treated me as someone to be protected. I realize that they mostly just don't like me. But there's something about not being seen as someone to be babied that just feels so confirming. Almost like my power is recognized, even if only being recognized as a threat to them. And maybe that is the true essence of power. At least we know it now. In this land, you don't get any respect unless you present or display some form of ability to defend yourself or attack another, if it comes to that. I believe it all stemmed from one moment. One of the dragons here was eyeing me one day. Normal stuff, usually. But this one was different. All of a sudden, he came up behind me and put me in a headlock, while he just laughed to his friends and frazzled my mane. I'm not exactly sure why he did it. Possibly just wanted to show off, and possibly some sort of hazing ritual they do when a new envoy comes along. Whatever the reason, I kicked back and seemed to hit him right in the liver.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no doctor, but I have heard something about the liver being connected to the brain, and when the liver gets hit like that, the brain goes into shock and disrupts the body's motor function. I had no idea about this at the time, but I'm very glad it's true, or else I'd probably be singing a completely different tune right now.
Who knew this story would be educational?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to remember to kick Wizzy in the liver once I see him.
Now, again, they're no doctor, but it sounds like a possible truth to me.
Yeah.
Once the dragons saw me do that, they seemed to take proper caution around me. They're still far from afraid, and most of them could still definitely outmuscle me, but they know I'm strong enough to cause quite a bit of damage to them, should a fight ever break out between us. That's the most basic level of respect is. That's what the most basic level of respect is, I think. The assumption that one can cause significant harm. Physical respect, respecting someone's strength, and strikes me at a much more instinctive chord to the dragons. Thanks, Celestia. Again, sorry, Princess. That it wasn't Sweetie Belle in my position. I mean, I love the filly. What?
Sweetie Belle in the Dragonlands would be an interesting story. Oh, she wouldn't last 5 minutes.
But would Spike?
Spike has.
Ah, good for him.
Spike actually became the Dragon Lord.
Good for him.
Then he gave up that position, but you know.
Whoa. Makes sense.
5 seconds is still 5 seconds.
I mean, I love the filly, but what would she have done? Sing at him till he stopped? No, I'm glad it was me. Working in the Dragonlands isn't a job for a pony that isn't willing to deal with some roughhousing, and shouldn't be taken lightly even by those who are. That reminds me, it's been ages since I've seen Sweetie Belle. She must be doing her own thing up in Manhattan right about now. Singing, dancing, maybe even appearing in a play or two. She's a talented mare, and one I'm glad to call my best friend. Last time I saw her...
Take that, Apple Bloom.
Poor Apple Bloom.
She deserves it.
She does not. You're being so mean to Apple Bloom.
Well, would you rather be mean to you?
I'd rather you be mean to Sweetie Belle.
No, Sweetie Belle's a sweetheart. I can't be mean to Sweetie Belle. She's too cool.
And Apple Bloom's just not, sure.
Apple Bloom can take it.
Last time I saw her I was at one of her music lessons about 5 months back. A.B. and I were singing for her to finish off so we could have one last night on the town. We were only together for about 2 months of us all being legal drinking age. Okay, so they're old now. Wow.
Yeah. Ugh, old people.
But boy, did we make it count. I remember her teacher was trying to tell her about different musical genres. Sounds like the bare basics, but it was really interesting.
Genres are categories we use to denote different types of music,
her teacher said. Which is true, we all know that.
Right. So what would punk music be described as?
Sweetie asked.
Well, typically very inspired by rock, a big focus on distorted guitars, percussions, and lyrics depicting some sort of counterculture message.
Sweetie looked confused.
So, what about punk? Doesn't that have any sort of counterculture message? Is that not punk? Not exactly, sweetie. See, genres can't account for every single edge case. We can only ever define them by the attributes we typically know them for. So 2 bands can sound absolutely nothing like each other and still be punk? That's right. And furthermore, there's some music that you or I would describe as sounding like punk, but it isn't. It's all about how we engage with the music and how it's presented to us.
She was a really good teacher to Sweetie Belle, and always spoke in such a nurturing voice, especially nurturing for a glam metal mare. I didn't really understand any of that stuff back then, but I think I do now. We sort things into our own little boxes for the sake of identification, but as soon as we try to explain what those identities mean, we can't. All we can really do is try our best to provide examples of what they would be, in whatever context they're in. Her teacher went on to say,
You know, there are subgenres as well for punk, hardcore punk, art punk, glam punk. My favorite is folk punk.
Is that real?
Yeah, it's
That sounds awesome.
I've shown you Pat the Bunny.
Ah, that would be folk punk.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It is good.
Folk is already my favorite genre of music, so folk punk, I know I'm boring, but so folk punk is like the only punk I like. But anyways, and all these are punk, and these are all punk. They are all punk, and none more or less punk than any other. Subgenres help us further identify what type of music we'll be hearing, and though they may be wildly different, art punk and glam punk are both equally valid types of punk music. Wizzy.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree.
Wizzy's got this disgusting music taste.
I suppose we do that a lot, don't we? Try to fit things into boxes as much as we can. Then, when things get muddled and complicated for us, we make another box within that box to put things in. We really like grouping things together.
Into a box. Then I'll put that
I
box into another box.
I like the analogy that it's going for with music and stuff.
Yeah.
Being able to identify things with only a few words. But what do you do when you're trapped inside the box? What does one do when there exists no box for you to fit into? Do you just live your entire life outside that box? Do you try to fit into the box you're already in, and hope you can keep stomaching the pain? Nothing hurts quite like being invisible. And not invisible in the sense that they can't see you, but invisible in the sense that nobody can see beyond the mask they've built for you to wear. I don't want this mask. I can't breathe through this mask. Its only saving grace is holding back the tears when they finally come, so that I can maintain the illusion that I am myself. It's easy to live in pain, after all. I've been doing it for years. But sometimes the pain of being who you're not outweighs the fear of being who you are. I didn't know for the longest time. Back in Equestria, I mean. How could I? Nobody taught me anything about it. All I had to go on were some vague notions in my head and an unrelated music lesson my friend was getting. But I'm learning. Maybe the day will come when I finally figure things out. Or maybe I'll always be learning. But I'm not in the dark anymore. I see myself, and I am powerful. A triumphant rooster. Hear me roar. The first time I thought something was up may have been when I first cut my tail. It was short, not stubby, but certainly shorter than the other mares. Some pony would look at me funny. I didn't cut it for the same reasons the stallions did. I did still take care of my tail, and wanted it to look good. Oh yeah, like, the stallions don't care about that, sure.
I wouldn't. I'm a horse. Why would I care?
Ross,
In the
come
hypothetical.
on. Gotta keep yourself clean, Ross.
I keep myself clean, depending on what part of me we're talking about.
Your hair?
Sure, I keep my hair clean.
So then you do care about taking care of yourself.
Well, it depends on the hair, Wizzy.
So you're saying that if it were a tail, you wouldn't keep it clean?
Sure.
If you had a horse's tail?
If something sprouted out of my rear end and it was a bunch of little hairs, I would not keep it clean, I don't think.
What
I
the
suppose
heck?
not little hairs, but... What?
Why would you keep your head hair clean but no other part of your body?
I'm not saying no other part of my body is
Just
being cleaned.
specifically a part of your body that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But if it
And I'll
did
just say
exist,
it, I don't clean in between my toes.
all right, we are moving on. I did still take care of my tail and wanted it to look good. I just wanted it to look me, if that makes sense. I understand that no pony has really been taught anything like this before, so maybe it's a bit unreasonable to get angry at this. But it does burn me up. I dread the thought of talking about who I really am to some pony, and them responding, I don't get it. If you don't get it, that shouldn't be my problem. But it is. The dragons always seem to understand who I am. Or maybe they just understood who I used to be. Whatever the reason, they're the only ones I've met that see me, and don't just see the mask I've been made to wear. In truth, maybe it'd be best if I didn't move back to Equestria once my station period is over. I mean, I have all I need here. Food, water, entertainment. I don't have friends like I do in Equestria, but that shouldn't be too hard. I've already made one here. I remember the day I met Thorn at the saloon, what the dragons called the saloon anyway, and he seemed to be the exact stereotype of a dragon ponies are used to.
Nice.
Thorn was brash, abrasive, said whatever was on his mind, and didn't care what anyone else thought of him. Most see him as unlikable, and honestly, he is. But I'm pretty fond of him. It's an admirable quality to be able to be exactly who you are, without fear of how others see you. At the saloon, I was sitting in my usual spot, at the back. Hold on, I need to drink water. Oh,
Drink,
no, I'm out of
drink,
water.
drink.
Never mind.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Here, take mine.
Okay.
That was like the worst noise I've ever heard.
That
Again.
is refreshing.
Oh,
Okay.
sends shivers down my spine.
Okay. At the saloon, I was sitting in my usual spot, at the back, behind a bed of rocks they called a booth, and drinking my flagon in peace. Thorn walked in, and he was the type of guy who didn't need to announce his presence every time he entered a room. It was really annoying, but eventually you got accustomed to it. And it even started to get exciting when just relaxing, and all of a sudden, guess who? He's a character.
We all
I said
are
didn't need to
characters.
announce his presence, but then it's acting like he is? I don't know.
Well, he's not announcing his presence. He's asking whose presence is here.
He has a habit of immediately introducing himself to every new face he sees, even if that new face isn't in the mood. In my case, Thorn came over and sat next to me, and started asking me all sorts of questions. Questions I didn't want to hear, and ones I definitely didn't want to answer.
Hey, do I know you from somewhere?
Was one of his favorites, due in big part because it annoyed me. I said no.
I don't know. You look pretty familiar. Maybe we went to school together?
I wasn't even convinced dragons had schools, let alone with a pony that looked anything like me attending them. No, I said again.
No, I know who you are. You're that rooster I keep hearing about.
There was that word again. Rooster. I am. What about it?
You think you're better than us? Big rooster, nesting up in that big embassy you built for yourself?
My temper was getting short, I'll admit. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was just me getting fed up with him. Probably both, honestly. I live residential, same as all of you. The sternness in my voice must have perked the ears of every dragon in the bar.
Is that a fact?
He smiled, almost as if he knew that. I kept wondering what kind of game he was playing, but his face was unreadable. Everything was still for a moment, both at our booth and in the bar around us. Neither of us moved a muscle, but tensed up for a reaction from the other. Then, after a few more seconds of glaring at one another, we both loosened up. Once the tension was unwound, he took a big swig of his beer. I consider myself something of an impressive drinker, but Thorn was something else.
Well, yeah,
He lifted the flagon back and poured it. I wonder how much alcohol a dragon can down before they get poisoned.
They regularly swim in lava, so I would guess about 0. They wouldn't get poisoned, is what I'm trying to say.
They just can't touch alcohol, apparently.
It burns them.
He lifted the flagon back and poured its contents down his open throat like it was a drain. And if you didn't already know, yes, alcohol is flammable. Then, Thorn burped and let out a large waft of flame. Luckily for me, it was more of a mist of embers than anything else, but still enough to singe the fur on my nose and the end of my mane. Red-hot rage pounded from my heart to my whole body. I was already inebriated, but this felt like an all-too-personal slight. I took my mug in a rage and threw it at him, drenching his scales in beer and leaving him more than a little dumbstruck. I immediately felt a pang of regret, despite what he'd done. It could have been an accident. Thorn got up and loomed over me. I wasn't scared of what he'd do, but I was scared of what might happen if news of this got back to the embassy. Would I get scolded by my superior? By you, princess? Would I lose my whole job?
Yes. This rooster is something else, fellas,
he said, chuckling to himself as another flaming burp came out of his mouth, this time directed upwards.
I'd like to buy him a drink.
And that was it. Rooster. M. It wasn't that they thought I wanted to be referred to as something. That's who they saw me as. To them, I was the rooster. M is me. Despite me throwing a drink in his face, he saw me for who I really was, with no mask clouding his vision. And maybe that is something. Maybe rooster doesn't exactly fit either, but maybe it's just that it's so far away from chicken or hen that it's comfortable. Maybe I'm not a rooster, but maybe it's more comfortable to be a rooster than to be anything else known. Maybe M is what I am. What I was, always. My station in the Dragonlands has been really good for me, I think. It's given me the opportunity to find out who I really am, in a completely new environment. I do want to come back to Equestria, Princess. I do want to see my friends again, and I'll never abandon the home I had, even if the Dragonlands becomes my new home. But a filly left Equestria, and that filly won't ever be coming back. Signed, Scootaloo. Oh, I love that ending. Oh, it's so good.
That's a pretty good one. That was my favorite of the stories, TBH. Probably because it dealt with dragons, and dragons are cool.
I feel like my favorite would have to be the Shining Armor one. It's something just about like this letter to someone format that people do. I don't think it really captures emotion as well as like a third person, I think it would be called.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the narrators telling you what's going on, how they're feeling. I feel like that's usually better in my opinion. But with this one, I really loved the analogies that they did and how they described being out of the binary.
Yeah. I would usually agree with you on that sort of thing, but this one I really thought did it well. Good job. But yeah, let's face it. If there was anyone who was non-binary in the show, it'd be Scootaloo. But good story.
That was our last story for the for this week of Pride Month special.
Yep. Good job, everybody who wrote that sort of thing. I want to congratulate you on the likes and even the dislikes, because you know what? Dislikes are still someone who read your story. Probably. I mean, with this sort of issue, probably some people didn't.
And also the picture for this story is like awesome. It's like the cool little non-binary pride flag. But then Scootaloo's in it, but Scootaloo's painted as an upside-down non-binary pride flag.
Yeah. I dig that. That's a really good one. But yeah. But what on earth are we gonna do for the third Pride Month episode, Wizzy?
I don't know. We've covered all the different LGBT.
Wizzy's trying to freaking not do the Wizzy's trying to erase me. I got there eventually. Wizzy's trying to erase asexuality. Everybody get him. Attack, attack.
Ross, you're spoiling what week 3 is gonna be.
Oops. Spoilers. Oh, look over there. Great, now you've forgotten. Guess I'll talk more about that then. But, yeah, everybody go down, because I know that some of you haven't freaking gone down and read the stories for yourself. But go down into the descriptions and thumbs up these stories. Gosh dang it. Follow me at RossPitShark on Twitter. Follow that guy at Wizzy_Puff.
Yeah.
Wizzy_Puff. Don't spell out underscore, but it is an underscore.
Yeah, they didn't know
Ask
that
your
before
parents.
You said it. Thank you for plugging me.
And thank you all for listening to the Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power... I say the Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour, which is not good English.
Well, I mean, it's the Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour podcast.
Yeah, but I never say the Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour podcast. I always say the Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. And it's also just Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. But yeah, hope to see you guys again soon. Or if not, I hope to at least think of you in my bed at night.
Oh no. Oh, Ross. Oh, God.
Give me a kiss, Wizzy.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, you want to start it now? Okay. Well, I'll be darned. You know what? I'll just back off. You go.
Listen, I know it's Pride Month, but I'm not giving you a kiss.
Come on, Wizzy. Give me a little smoochy smooch.
No, not when you call it that.